Hi, Dominic here. Welcome to my first real devlog for my indie game project Aton. Let's speak about what I did the last few days. The game has a lot of rough edges, so I decided to do a lot of playtesting with my best friend and make a lot of notes about stuff I want to change, and I did. I found a few bugs and had some ideas for quality of life changes. I began my work by creating new entries in my Trello board and just working on it. Let me walk you through the things I did. First, I added the building name to the kit editor. You know, it's easier to remember what does what if the things got names. My building presets already contain names, so it was pretty straightforward. Next, I prevented players without names from joining. I am going with a system that allows you to alter your name each and every match, since playtesters had a lot of fun with it and it seemed like a great way to use inside jokes and coming up with new ones. But you know, if one joins without a player name at all, it won't change anything, won't crash the server and stuff, but it feels just really buggy for the other player seeing no player name at all. I also got area of effect bullets in the game, but as all bullets right now, I basically just discard them if they lose their target because the target gets killed. Because the logic behind this is, if they don't have any target to hit anymore, they can just get destroyed. But with area of effect bullets, it seemed much more rational to have them explode at the moment where they lose their target out of confusion. So I did that. Speaking of area of effect, I have a little blast animation going on if they explode. But right now this animation only happens for the player that actually shot the bullet. This was a quite easy fix, probably faster than talking about it right now, so let's quickly move ahead to the next thing, the death screen. It's not that pretty right now. It really isn't. It's not even covering the whole screen, so I gave it a drag and a slap and boom bada boom. I mean, it's still pretty basic, but at least it's now full screen. And with full screen, way more full than my kit editor. Okay, it's pretty easy to understand. You just take a building and you drag it into your kit, but not that simple. You see, I used one laptop and one smartphone for playtesting over Christmas time, and that was when I implemented the system. So you see, to scroll through the buildings on mobile, you swipe. To drag them, you basically swipe too. I added a hold and drag thing, which now feels very weird on PC, but saved me a lot of time on mobile. And I actually consider releasing Aton on mobile too, and there are people with touchscreens even on PC devices, and they could play the rest of the game just with touch. So I went into the settings and added a PC mode / touch mode toggle. Now you are able to switch in between the two modes to the one that matches your kit editing style the best, so you can have more swag than these bullet trails. Are you seeing this stuff? That's not great. Let's add one little line that deletes those trails once the bullet stops rendering, and we are already pretty golden. I'm also considering not even starting to render the trail if the path the bullet needs to fly is short enough for this to look weird as well, but I need to take just a bit more time to think about it. Finished with what I wanted to do, I went to a lecture, and after that I decided to go outside for a bit. There was snow and I haven't seen much snow the last year, so I went into the forest near my dorm. Sadly, it was already too dark to show any of it, but just enjoy the sounds of the snow. ASMR. Oh, okay, I will stop. I went back and met up with some friends on Discord. Then I took some minutes and switched out the codec for strings inside my network code from ASCII to UTF-8. I surely had some really good reasoning behind my decision to use ASCII instead of a codec that actually would have made sense. I'm just not able to tell you now. Why are you giving me that look? Don't judge me. I wrote that code at like 2 AM or something because everybody knows that's the best time to do so. After that, I called it a day and went to bed. New day, new stuff to do. At first I worked on a project for university, then I finally began implementing some sounds beside music into Aton. I mostly use placeholder sounds for now, since I haven't had the mental capacity to go too deep into sound design. Instead, I started on designing the leveling system. My game is pretty complex, talking about synergies and this kind of stuff, so I wanted to give players a chance to slowly get into the game and find strategies that work, then maybe expand on those strategies with their new buildings and get to know the game this way. I think it might be a great way to not overwhelm new players with like 50 different buildings right when they start up the game. Also, it adds a long-term goal to the game. I started by scribbling out how I would imagine the system to work, but I expect a lot of fine-tuning and changes to be needed over time. Next, I decided to randomly introduce a new feature. You are no longer able to place buildings at some random point of the game. I quickly set up my development server and started debugging. I discovered that I successfully implemented a deadlock earlier, which is great. I left it all as is, because I don't want people to play the game anyways. Well, not really, I fixed it. And then I made the kit editor completely useless too. Okay, so let's take a look what we have to do now. Leveling, we got that, yes. Yes. Perfect. Connect or whatever this is. UI. I did something with UI. Yeah, that's probably. I got that. I got that from the list. Update kit editor to work with levels, I guess. All right, let me just close this. Yep, discard changes and let's just go. So yeah, I stagnated for the rest of the time.